Hot out there, fella. I bet you are. What you need to cool down is tonight's sponsor, Viennetta. Inarguably the most weirdly fancy and almost decorative frozen ice cream dessert product on the market. Viennetta is a confectionery anomaly, or conflomely, that is for no apparent reason in a big fancy brick shape served in slices. You could be mistaken for thinking that you were staring at a Venetian church or Tudor ruff, but no, you're actually looking at one of the poorest quality frozen dairy logs that money can buy. So cool off and get warmed up for Late Night Live! Sponsored by Viennetta.
Hello and welcome to Late Night Live. First of all, thank you to our sponsor for tonight, Viennetta, the most needlessly fancy ice cream on the market. And of course, as always, our second sponsor tonight, Cans. How's everyone doing? Oh, it's going to be a big show tonight, boys. It's going to be a big show. Here we go. Oh, I love that. Oh, hope you're all doing all right. We're looking at Odion Ighalo. The Odion Ighalo loan looks set to continue. We're talking, we're talking Pogba, Fernandez, Pognandez, Fernogba, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be looking at that. The Premier League's coming back. They're going to be playing together. What a midfield partnership that is. And dare I say, perhaps the best midfield in the league. And perhaps one of the best midfields in the world. Is that ridiculous? We'll have a look at that in a little bit. First of all, how's everyone doing at home? We've got one more story coming up as well. We've got a few more, but the one I want to talk to you about, and it's a sad one. It's not a sad one, it's actually, it's got a lot of soul to it. It's got a hell of a lot of soul, and it is a man in Thailand who can't stop having sex with flip-flops. So, that's coming up. Tonight then, I want to hear your dessert footballer puns in honour of Viennetta, who have so kindly sponsored us with their pleated, their riveted, their sort of, what is this, corrugated almost finish to what is one of the least exclusive and yet most exclusive desserts on the market. It looks like some sort of, I don't even know, some sort of Greek like monastery or something like that. No, we're good. It looks like some sort of Greek, parliament building, and yet, it's like £1.16. So in honour of that, I want to hear your dessert plus footballer puns. You could have eaten Messi, or you could have sticky young sungy toffee pudding. Now, I don't expect anything as good as sticky sung youngy toffee pudding from anyone at home, because that took me years to come up with. But give me your best footballer plus dessert puns. That's all. That's all I want from you. That's all I want from you. Get that music off. Get that off. Let's have a look at our first story of the night. Odion Ighalo. Odion Ighalo. We all know him. We all love him. This is according to Sky Sports and then backed up by Simon Stone of BBC. Odion Ighalo, Shanghai Shenhua open to Manchester United, keeping striker until January. Shanghai Shenhua are open to Odion Ighalo to remain at Manchester United until January. We've looked at this story before. We've spoken about this before. United remain in talks with the Chinese club about extending United's the Ighalo's loan, which currently ends on Sunday, which is very close. That's only 2 days away. If my maths is right, you got your Saturday and then Sunday, bang, ended. Border restrictions may prevent Ighalo from returning to China in time for the start of the new season in June. If he can't, the club will look to bring in a temporary replacement. So they would have to bring in either a Chinese person or someone who's already in China to replace him. I like how they're sort of like, Shanghai Shenhua would be open to allowing Ighalo to stay at United until January. Yeah, we'd be open to that. Oh, is that because no one's allowed in the country until November? We would be open to that for a few reasons. One of them being that even if he wanted to have him back, he legally couldn't come back in the country. So that gives us a decent chance, I think, of keeping Ighalo at Old Trafford. The fact that he can't even go back to China, even if he wanted to, even if they wanted him back. There's been talks of a £75 million over 4-year deal, which is ludicrous, almost £20 million a year to keep Ighalo at Shanghai. But no amount of money can let you back in the country. Someone saying Swiss Ronaldo. It kind of works. John Scones, very good. Cristiano Ronaldo nuts. Peter Icicle, Black Forest Gattuso, that's very nice. Cafu cake, like coffee cake. Yeah, great. Again, if you weren't here for the start, we are looking for dessert plus footballer puns. The examples I gave were Eton Messi and Sticky Sung Youngie Toffee Pudding. You know, Batten Bergkamp. Great. Yeah, fantastic. Where's Brownie? You know, it works. Apple Petr Apple pie to check. Okay, it's a pie. It's an apple pie. It's an apple pie. Apple pie to check. I get it. Batten Bergkamp currently leading the way. This story then backed up tonight by Simon Stone. We all know Simon Stone. We all love Simon Stone. Talks continuing between Man United and Shanghai and Ighalo. His loan expires on Sunday, but the expectation does seem to be that this loan will be extended, that he will be allowed to stay at least until the end of the Premier League season, and hopefully it's looking more and more like, increasingly like, he'll be there until January. So we're going to have one more year worth of Odion Ighalo. 2020. Imagine what the 2021 version of Ighalo will be like. Teenage Mutant Ninja Skirtle. It works, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles aren't desserts, are they? If I'd have said cartoon characters and footballers, you'd be top of the class, Ravash. But instead, you're being sent out for not listening to me. You've been sent out. Francesco Biscotti. That's what we're looking for. Rum Berbatov. Rum Barbatov, like a rum barber. Very nice. Moose Dembele. That's very good. Moose Dembele, because it sounds like sort of Bananas Foster. Do you know when you've almost got like Dembele being used as a verb there? Do you know what I mean? Or as a noun? Or as an adjective? Or as an adverbjective? Who knows? Simon Stone Cake, John Strawberry Sauce, Jammy Brendan Rodgers. That's very good. But the only problem with that is Jammy Dodgers, they're a biscuit. They're not really a dessert. But I'm going to accept it in this case. Fred and Butter Pudding. That is excellent, Vernon. Great name, Vernon, as well. You don't hear that very often. We're going to have to move on, but keep these coming in because I'm going to keep coming back to these periodically. The next up then, like I said, we've got Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba. It's the thing that we're all looking forward to. It's what gives us life in these difficult isolation-based days. The likes of Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba playing together when we come out. And I'm going to say this now, and yes, I've had a couple of Cronin boys. Have I? Yes. But I'm still going to say, other than Man City, who I think De Bruyne, even David Silva, I know he's older and he's going now, Bernardo Silva, Fernandinho, Rodri, these sorts of players. I think other than Manchester City, I think a midfield of McTominay, Fred, Matic, Pogba and Fernandes to choose from is the second best midfield in the world. And that's mad, isn't it? I was looking at some of the other contenders. Barcelona, Rakitic, brilliant, but he's ageing. De Jong, fantastic player. And then after that, it's a little bit thin. Busquets, again, a fantastic player, one of the best of his generation, but he's getting on now. Real Madrid, Modric, 34, too old. Kroos, excellent player. Other than that, Casemiro's all right, but he's just a knockoff Fernandinho, isn't he? Bayern Munich's midfield is fine, but again, they're using right-backs as centre-mid these days. I think, controversially perhaps, that United have got one of the best midfields in the world when everyone's fit now. And how is that possible? Matic on form, of course. Not the Matic that played against Everton last season. And I say played, it looked like there was just a sofa on the pitch. That was the worst game I've ever seen any footballer play, was Matic against Everton last season. But I think that United will have one of the best midfields in the world, and certainly the second best midfielder in the Premier League behind Man City. I don't think that's, astonishing. The fact, at times this season we've had an out-of-form Matic, Pereira and Lingard playing for us, and then we're going to have an in-form Matic, which, as we all know, and I wouldn't say he's still at this level, but in his day, 3 or 4 years ago, was one of the best defensive midfielders in the world, and he's still excellent when he's at the peak that he's at, with Bruno and Pogba in front of him. Paul Pogba, who has been one of the best midfielders in the world for the last 5 years, despite what people say, certainly the most talented midfielder in the world, by far the most talented midfielder in the world, and Bruno Fernandes, who has had, again, statistically is the best midfielder in the world in terms of goals and assists, and you've got both of them playing on one side. Jinkies. It's exciting, isn't it? Someone says, nah, mate, you're having a laugh. You know what? I might be. I've got a bit of a bogey there. We'll ignore that. Figo pudding. We all want some figo pudding now. Fruit salad. That's good, actually. I like fruit salad. Yeah, that's really nice. United's midfield is not better than Liverpool's. Don't be delusional. I disagree with that. I would rather have Fernandes than Wijnaldum. I'd rather have Pogba than Henderson. I think Fabinho is better than Matic. But I'd rather have 2 out of our 3 midfield than the other way around. You know, I think their system works brilliantly for them, and obviously, you know, they've smashed everyone. But I think their midfield is a very functional and a very, pretty much, let's face it, boring, isn't it? Henderson, we've seen how good he is for England. For 6 or 7 years he's played for England. And he's fine, but he got absolutely outclassed by Frankie de Jong last summer. And now all of a sudden he's in one of the best teams in the world, which admittedly he was then. And he still didn't stand out. I think Jordan Henderson is a good player. He's he's 6 out of 10 across the board. Decent at tackling, decent at passing, decent at vision, decent at movement, decent at defending, all that sort of stuff. But he doesn't stand out in any way. I think Fabinho is a good defensive midfielder. I think Wijnaldum is probably the best of the lot. But I still think Bruno Fernandes is better than him. And I still think Pogba is better than Henderson. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Someone's saying that Henderson is a poor man's Gareth Barry. I'll cheers to that. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Bruno Fernandes dessert. And that's good because that is just a sort of an all-encompassing dessert one. It's not a specific one. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We're pushing it now, lads. Let's move on to our next story. And this one, it's a bit... I'll warn you, if there's any children watching, there's a reason this show's at 10:15. Well, we're at 10:15 now. There's a reason this show starts at 10. Because it's going to get a bit sexy in here. Look at that. And when I say look at that, I mean look at the picture. I mean, I'm not being so degrading as to say that in relation to a human. Look at that picture is what I'm saying. Nurse reprimanded for wearing bikini under transparent PPE. Now, I would never usually include this sort of story because it's filth. Let's face it, this is low rent filth. But the thing I want to get into, there's a couple of things I want to get into, and we'll see to that in a minute. A nurse in Russia has been given a telling off for non-compliance with the requirements of medical clothing. You think? The unnamed nurse, who was in her 20s, was pictured on the coronavirus ward for male patients in Tula, 120 miles south of Moscow, and the picture was spotted online by her bosses. She was called in for a meeting that said she was too hot, wearing her normal uniform underneath the see-through plastic PPE she had been given. She also said that she didn't realise how transparent the PPE was. Almost as transparent as that lie you've just told. You didn't realise how transparent it was? It's clear! It's clear, both in the sense that it's clear to see how transparent it is, and it's actually effing clear. It's completely transparent. It looks like you just put a tiny bit of talcum powder on cling film. And look at this guy here. God bless him. He's in there. He's struggling with his lungs. And what you can't see on that picture, and I hope I've brought it in. I'm not sure if I have, you know. It's a shame because I haven't. There's a fella on this bed here. If you look closely, he's looking over at his mate like that. Get a load of this, pal. Hey, get a load of this, pal. As if she didn't realise how clear it was. Look at him, look. He's sat bolt up like that. Matt, I've dropped my medicine on the floor. Can I have some? Can circle back round when you've done? Because I've dropped mine. Yeah, that's all dirty. That's all dirty. I've crunched that up by accident. I tried to pick it up, but I stomped on it. Can you circle back round and give me some more medicine, please? Look at him sat up with his mask on, hands on his lap, bit weird. Honestly, pretending that she didn't realise how transparent it was. A patient said that there was no objection to her attire, but there had been some embarrassment. Responding to local reports, a reader said that she had shown she had a sense of humour, while another woman said it raised the patient's moods. Yeah, but that's not what you're there for. Anyway, the exact nature of her reprimand is unknown, so she's probably just been told to put her clothes back on. But, you know, I can't believe she said that she didn't realise. Do you know something? Do you know when you're going out and you've just got completely clear clothes on? You've got transparent clothes on. We've all been there. You know when you're about to leave the house, you just shut the door, you're just about to put the key in and you go, hang on a sec, is my vagina on show? And then you look down and you go, yes, my vagina is on show because I'm wearing my clear pants again. Oops, silly me, we've all been there, right guys? The amount of times I've left the house wearing nothing but a cling film sort of skirt around what are otherwise exposed genitals, I could count on, a dozen hands. It's ridiculous. We've all been there, guys. Honestly. Someone says she's saving lives. Mate, you can save lives with your bloody clothes on. Hyungmin Sunday. Very good from Mina Gali there. Someone said, God bless her. And that is from Jesus Christ in the comments. And you can check that if you want, because that's not me saying that. That's someone called Jesus Christ who said, God bless her. Max Mayer lemon bars. Don't get that one. Anyway, it wasn't their moods that were raised. Get out. Pie-eyed Piper, get out. Jisung Dark Chocolate Gatto. Jisung Park, as in Jisung Dark Chocolate Gatto. I love it. Right, next up. And I hate to have to do 2 sex stories in a row, but it's what's in the news. It's what everyone's talking about. Look at that guy there, look. He looks fine, doesn't he? Normal kind of guy. Just the sort of bloke that you would see, you know, around town, perhaps. But no, man with shoe fetish stole 126 flip-flops so he could have sex with them. Why? Why does this keep happening? A man has been arrested in Thailand for allegedly stealing his neighbour's shoes in order to have sex with them. Allegedly stealing his neighbour's shoes. Sorry, how many pairs of flip-flops do his neighbours have? What are his neighbours? Millipedes? There's 126 pairs of shoes there. Thirapat Klaya, don't know how to say that, 24, had a fetish for flip-flops, you think? And was found with a staggering 126 pairs that he'd pinched from locals in Nonthaburi, central Thailand. Police identified Klaya using footage from CCTV set up outside his latest alleged victim's home. When they searched the man's home, they found his sprawling collection of shoes that claimed he had more. Sorry, he claimed he'd been collecting for more than 2 years. Do you know what? 126 pairs in 2 years, that's not bad actually, fair play to him. Klaya said he would wear them around his home as it turned him on, sure. He allegedly told officers that after several hours of wearing the flip-flops, he kissed and cuddled them. See, stripping off and rubbing them on his body before having sex with them, right. He allegedly told officers that after several hours of wearing flip-flops, he'd kissed and cuddled them. At least he took them on a date first. Do you know what I mean? This guy's a gentleman. He wore them. He would take them out for several hours. Get used to them. Learn each other. You know, sure, he would then go on to rub them on his body and have sex with them. But for several hours, he would get to know them. Do you know what I mean? And I've heard of sandalwood before, but this takes the biscuit. It really does. Police said his collection included dozens of different brands. So he's willing to shop around. Sizes and colours of shoes, all of them well worn. The vast array of footwear was laid out in front of the Nonthaburi police station as part of a press conference on Monday. So you see the selection of shoes there. It's quite. Are you shaming him for stealing or having a fetish? Stealing, isn't it? Because that is illegal. You know what I mean? Do what you want with your own footwear. Don't steal things from people. That's just, it's as simple as that. We can all agree the less things that are stolen, the better. Except occasionally you might steal someone's heart. And you know what? You're a good-looking kid, and occasionally that's going to happen, and that's not your fault. So stay safe and stay happy. That's all I'll say. What I would like to show you here, see that picture that's sort of on the periphery of this one? No, you're not going to be able to see it. On the right-hand side there, him at the table with just a small selection of his flip-flops. Here's a bigger version of that picture. There you go. And you just see there, look. Everyone point to the bloke who has sex with flip-flops, and they're all like that. It's him there, look. Him there, look. Him there, look. In case you didn't know, the man who's got 6 flip-flops in front of him and his hand down his pants. Look at him like that. They haven't noticed. They haven't noticed he's got his hand down his pants, look. Just put 6 in front of him and see. That's instead of doing a normal lineup. They put the flip-flops in there, sit him down. If he pops his hands down his pants, which he has, predictably, then it's him who's done it. And he has, look, point at that. If you can see someone who's pleasuring themselves to a flip-flop, point at him. I don't want to have to point, but yeah, it's him. It's definitely him. No soul in that, is there? This man doesn't have a soul. Actually, he does. At least 126. Bloody hell, it's exciting, isn't it? Very exciting, very exciting. Let's move on to our next story then. And this is our final story of the day. Final story, come on. Unbelievable. 21 minutes has gone on it like that. 21 minutes to go. And this one is one that hits close to home for me. I'm going to get rid of that. This one hits close to home for me. Because I'll get into it. A disturbing picture of what came out of a blocked ear leaves people unable to sleep. A Reddit user left readers with chills and sweaty hands after sharing a photo of what they removed from their ear. When they suspected a simple wax blockage was impairing their hearing. G'day. Horrified readers have been left unable to sleep after someone shared the results of their attempts to remove an earwax blockage that had been bugging them for days. The anonymous person explains they were woken up in the middle of the night and immediately felt something was wrong with their left ear. It was not painful, but it caused a loud crackling noise, and this is the thing that gets me, because I've had loud, when you wake up it's like a in your ears, you think, oh, it must just be wax moving a bit. A loud crackling noise every few seconds, which they had never experienced, with a build-up of earwax previously. They put a cotton pad and a bit of olive oil in the ear. What are you trying to do? Make a nice sautéed ear. A little bit of olive oil, sprinkle of salt, just put your ear on a very hot frying pan and wait till it's done. They put a cotton pad with olive oil on the ear to soften the wax. Sorry, my mistake. It wasn't to shallow fry the ear. It was instead to try and break up the wax that was inside. And the crackling noise was, I'm going to be sick, was replaced with soft ticking sounds, which made it difficult to sleep. But eventually they managed to nod off again with an ear full of olive oil. Some kind of freak. The next morning the sounds were gone, but the blockage remained, so they spent several days trying to attempt to remove it themselves. They gently put water in the ear, tried again to soften the wax with oil, and even resorted to using tweezers, which they said they now know they shouldn't have done, as it can cause serious damage. All of these methods failed to get the earwax out, until today. I was stupidly poking around with tweezers in my ear when I finally managed to grab the earwax. Excited, I took out and wanted to look at what my ear had just birthed. Here it is, folks. It's a full-blown moth. Sorry for anyone who's got headphones on. Look, it's a moth. To my horror, the blockage was not caused by earwax, but what was caused by a kind of tiny moth. This creature had somehow managed to climb in my ear at 2 a.m. It caused me to wake up and couldn't leave my ear because the cotton pad I'd stuffed inside. You trapped it in. You suffocated a moth in your ear. I'm still trying to process that I had a dead moth in my ear for half a week. Now, the strangest thing to me isn't the moth, isn't the ear, isn't the crackling or the ticking noise, which are quite frankly diabolical. It is the fact that someone would use the term half a week. Who says that? Oh, in half a week. No one says half a week. What, 3.5 days? Who uses half a week? Give us how many days it was in there for. Give us how many hours. Half a week? 104th of a year? Who talks like that? Oh my God, someone said, Jesus, my ears. I'm sorry. Everyone's upset because I screamed in their ears. I'm sorry, but I used to have this thing, right, and this is why I said this hits close to home for me. I was, one time, right, when I was a very young kid, me and my sister would sometimes share a bed together. It was like a fun little sleepover. I would be like 4 or 5, whatever, she'd be 8, and we'd just be like, oh, let's stay in bed, let's share, we'll read magazines, we'll have a little sleepover, right? One time, she read to me an article from a magazine and was like, oh, did you know that you swallow 8 spiders a year in your sleep? So 8... let me just do the maths on this. 8 spiders a year divided by 0 hours sleep that I got for the next 2 years. 0 hours sleep. So that was no sleep for 2 years. That equals living hell. So basically I was terrified that a spider was going to crawl down my throat, or in an ear, or in an eye, or up the bum, anywhere that a spider could get in my sleep for so long that this makes me feel physically sick. Thinking about it, imagine that. And do you know, you've ever had it before? If anyone who's ever had, do you know when sometimes you get water in your ear from the swimming pool or you go to the sea, and you hear that like, as it sort of drains outwards or inwards or wherever it's going, who knows. But that ticking and that crackling noise could be a moth or a murderer. Imagine you just tipped out like that. Murderer fell straight out your ear. Shipman, straight out your ear like that. Oh my God. Absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Anish says, now I can't sleep. Great, I know. What are we going to do? What are we actually going to do? Just fill our ears with wax. Just fill it all the way up with wax, like Shrek when he's pulling the earwax out of his ears. Light it. Just leave it in there while you're asleep. Because there's literally nothing I can do. Right, let's go back to our puns for the day. I want your desserts and football puns. We've got Knickerbocker Mora. That's not bad. Lionel Eaton Messi. That's pretty good, although I did give you that one before. Someone said, rather a moth than free... Excuse me. Someone said, my God, yeah, my God, exactly. Martin Jelly Sweets. I don't know who Martin Jelly Sweets is, but I like him. Dwight York Cheesecake, instead of like New York Cheesecake. I like it. JJ Chocolate Cake. JJ Chocolate Cake, very good. Gingerfred House. Stretford Paddock Fan TV says, who's your favourite serial killer? Now, it's a great question. First of all, completely insensitive. But secondly, we have developed a culture around serial killers where the documentary and the sort of almost fetishization of serial killers has allowed us to answer such questions as, who's your favourite serial killer? Without looking like a serial killer yourself. And I would have to say... Bundy. Joe, what's up, lad? Not a lot, mate. How you doing, Harris? Lee Candy Sharp. Lee Candy Sharp. Don't get that one. Luke Shortcake. Yeah, that's good. Chocolate Mousse Dembele. Martin Kelly Joe. Again. Flapjack Wilshire. Very nice. Flapjack Wilshire is very good. Chocolate Eclairant Seydorf. Profiterskulls. Profiterskulls. Electro Notch. That might be my favourite of the night. Profiterskulls is very, very good. Wine Gum Naldum. Also pretty good. I hope you're all excited for the weekend, by the way. Obviously, we come here Friday night every week to bring you the latest fun, the latest news and all that. But this weekend, first of all, you're allowed to gather in groups of 6, but be flipping careful, why don't you? Second of all, the weather is about to be off the charts. And there's only one thing that you need when the weather is off the charts. You're allowed to gather in groups of 6 at a safe distance. Make sure you stay 2 meters away from everyone. But here's what we need. When you're in the park this weekend, you go out, get your music on. Where is it? There it is, boys. Get your hat on, like that. Get your hat on. Get your sunglasses on, lads. And this is what I want to see. Up and down the country this weekend, people staying safe. Get your blue duck wickeds out, lads. Oh, that tastes like 2006. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. That is way nicer than you remember. That is absolutely delicious. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you very much for giving me your puns. Thank you very much for giving me your time. Danny Eat Cake, Paul Scones, and finally, Lee Cake Battermall. That's going to be all from me. Good night.